Hey, what's up? My name is Jam and I'm here to review The Mommy Club. This was episode 8. When I tell you this was a slow episode, I usually watch an episode twice, but I watched this one once and I slept halfway through it. And then when I woke up, I was like, I am not starting from the beginning. I just continued watching it. It was a really slow episode, but we're gonna try and make it fun. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, support a bitch.
Support me, bitch!
So the episode starts off Miss Manchi, her mother, and Palesa, the cousin, sister, stroke nanny. They're outside sitting down. They're at Miss Manchi's house. So they're talking. So Miss Manchi was telling her about the wine tasting event, what happened, and what led to her tip-taff with Omole, the actress. I feel like we have to say that because we don't know you. So let's just say Omole, the actress, because you're not part of the Mommy Club. Okay, the show. You're of course a mother, but not on this show. You're not part of the Mommy Club. Miss Manchi's mom was really uncomfortable with some of the things Miss Manchi was saying, like, the foursome question. She was not feeling it. To a point, were you guys drinking something? Yes, they were. Miss Manchi talked about what led to her having a beef with Omole, that she told Omole about, you're a fine one to talk when it comes to cloud chasing. I love that her mom checked her on it. Like, that was rude. I honestly did not have a problem with Miss Manchi saying that. The problem I have with Miss Manchi is she throws jabs like those, and then if you come at her, she's like, don't talk to me like that. Do not disrespect me. I am not a child. That's the problem I have with Miss Manchi. Like, if you're going to throw shade, you have to be ready for the rebuttal. You can't say something and then expect me to just shut up. You can't. I have to speak. I have to talk. So when you tell me you're a fine one to talk and I tell you relax yourself, and apparently now that's the most disrespectful thing that has ever happened to you. And she was very rude. She was very disrespectful. I love that her mom checked on it, because that's how Miss Manchi is. Miss Manchi wants to throw shade, but Miss Manchi likes to comment about a situation, but if you comment about her situation, she gets mad. And someone like her, either you have a lot to hide. I feel like she has some things that she's hiding, and we're going to talk about it when we see her beefing with Ratile at the end of the show. But I feel like Miss Manchi has a lot to hide. Her mom in the confessionals, listen, I'm pretty sure her mom was wearing her daughter's shapewear, because the way her body was pulled and pulled and pulled, the boobs were here. I know she was uncomfortable in that confessional. And last time I saw her, I remember I told you guys, her face, she's had some things, she's had some work done. And I'm not hating. People don't want to grow old. People still want to look tight. People don't want to have wrinkles. So I am not hating. If you have the money, do what makes you feel good about yourself. The next thing was Happy had a private party. She closed down a club to have all the ladies there, all the ladies except Ratile. So Mrs. Mops, Miss Manchi, and who else? Nunu Rai. Sorry, Nunu Rai was looking really, really sexy. When I tell you Nunu Rai's body, you guys will be tired of me saying this, but Nunu Rai is body goals. She is. She really is. They come in, everyone's asking, where's Ratile? And then Happy was like, I didn't invite her. I just don't vibe with her and things like those. Of course, Miss Manchi starts, yes, I also don't like her. I told you guys I had a feeling about this. When we left the wine tasting event, she didn't tell me she has a problem with me, and we were together, we left together. She never told me she had a problem with me and all these things. First of all, you guys were drunk that day, to be honest. Ratile was already pissed. I think she just wanted to go home. When you guys met at the garage, I think it was just like, that wine tasting event was really not it. But she didn't want to talk about the problems that you have then. I guess maybe she wanted an audience. I don't know. So everyone had something to say except Nunurai. Nunurai says she has no problem with Ratile. Now, here comes the Mrs. Mops, the calculative one. She will not say she has a problem with Ratile, but she will agree with Miss Manchi and Happy. But she's not saying that she has a problem with her. Because even later on, they're like, oh, she's going to be really pissed that we didn't invite her and she's part of the mommy club. And Miss Manchi like, is she part of the mommy club? You see, things like those, Miss Manchi. And then if Ratile was there and told you, relax yourself. Oh, she's disrespecting me. You're forgetting you started it. Because when you say, is she part of the mommy club? What do you mean? And if someone asks you, you get angry. You get so defensive. I was talking about Mrs. Calculative, Mrs. Mops. Miss Nunurai says that she does not have a problem with Ratile. Ratile has not done nothing to her, so she doesn't have a problem. Mrs. Mops says the same thing. I also don't have a problem with her. We just had lunch, but when Happy and Miss Manchi are talking, you're agreeing with them. I would not want a friend like Mrs. Mops, because she's not someone who will really have your back like that. Like if she's sitting across to someone who doesn't like you, she'll be like, I understand where you're coming from, and you're talking ill about your friend. Yes, I get it. Okay, you just talk to her. So later on, even when Ratile later on sees this episode, she's gonna ask Mrs. Mops, like, really, me and you don't have a problem. Why would you agree with them? But this is what Mrs. Mops will say. But I never said anything. I never said anything bad about you. I also said I don't have a problem with you. When Miss Manchi is calling Ratile a snake, Nunurai was like, a snake. Okay, although she said it in her confessional. She's like, a snake is going too far. Of all the animals, a snake, no. She's like, no. I feel like Nunurai is the only person who can be honest with you in that group, to be honest, as a friend. These other ones, it's either they are doing it, like I feel Miss Manchi does it a lot for TV. Her fake accent, same as Mrs. Mops. Her fake personality, same as Mrs. Mops. Like, I really want to see Miss Manchi when she's not trying to put on for TV. What happened? Nunurai talks about what Omule said, and they laughed about it. What's her name? Happy was like, if someone just says you don't have a satellite, you have a satellite, why are you mad? If you have a satellite dish in your home country, why are you angry? Like, nobody really understood where she was coming from. And the only person who got it was last week. Ratile said that was not nice. She was discriminated. Ratile was the only one who said it. Mrs. Moss also there just laughed about it. I feel like that thing was not hurtful to Nunurai. Nunurai also asked about the fan, Omule calling her a fan, and then here goes Happy. What? When did she say that? Happy was there. The flashback. Happy was there saying, oh yes, Nunurai is fans of us. Granted, Happy was drunk. She probably doesn't remember half the things that she said. But the way she acted shocked. I loved when Nunurai in her confession it was like, this bitch. She was one of the people saying, I'm a fan of hers, and now she's acting like she doesn't remember. But Nunurai did not want beef that time. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to talk about it later with her. I'm not going to ask her right now. So I get it. This thing with Mrs. Mops and Miss Manchi. Mrs. Mops was pouring champagne. And then, I don't know if she forgot or she did it intentionally. You never know with that woman. But she didn't pour some for Miss Manchi. And then Miss Manchi is like, oh, you forgot about me? And Mrs. Mops was like, yes, I did. And then they were like, oh, I see where we stand as friends. And Mrs. Mops was like, oh, okay, it's okay, no problem. You didn't even want to host a party for me. And I was like, a party? I was kind of confused. And then they showed a flashback, Mrs. Mops' birthday. Miss Manchi said, we love you, but we're not going to do a party for you. Apparently, Mrs. Moss was pissed because of that. And like what Miss Manchi said last week, if Mrs. Moss is pissed, she doesn't speak to you about it. She doesn't tell you this pissed me off or nothing like that. So you're thinking, why is Mrs. Moss angry? She's not telling you. So now here she's blabbing out saying, yes, you can't even host a birthday party for me or something like that. Like, really, that's something to be pissed off about? Mrs. Mops, you've just known her for like 2 seconds. And then here comes Miss Manchi. You didn't follow me when I was leaving your event. I thought you talked about it last week. And she explained to you, I wasn't gonna leave my event. I get you being salty because I said I'm that type of friend also. If I leave your party and I'm mad, I'm hurt, I'm crying, if you do not follow me, we're not gonna be good for a minute. So she's like, apologize. Mrs. Mom's like, I'm not apologizing to you. You should apologize. And this is why I say Miss Manchi doesn't have this energy with Mrs. Mops. Like, you know, this tough energy, this tough girl that she tries to portray herself to be, she doesn't have it with Mrs. Mops. Because she's the one who ended up standing from where she was sitting to go give Mrs. Mops a hug and tell Mrs. Mops, don't worry, I'll do your birthday. And beg for an apology, because you begged for that apology. Mrs. Mops just sitting and said, okay, I'm sorry for not following you. As in, Miss Manchi, when it comes to Mrs. Mops, I don't know why she's so intimidated by her. I don't know why. Maybe she's because Mrs. Mops is richer than her. I don't know why, but she's very intimidated when it comes to Mrs. Mops. They ended up bringing a dancer, showed them some moves. They all stood up to dance. They had a good time. The next scene was Happy taking her favorite daughter to get a snake. I loved before the beginning of the episode, there was a disclaimer. If you're afraid of snakes, please do not watch this. I think that's why I slept, because I really do not like snakes, spiders, So yeah, she took her favorite daughter to get a snake. Next scene, Nunurai invites Miss Manchi and Happy to her house. They want to cook jollof rice. Remember, Miss Manchi and Nunurai are both married to Nigerians, and Happy is gonna be married to a Nigerian very soon. Oh my god. I should really go check if Happy is really still with this guy until now. Yeah. But let me tell you something. Since last episode when Titi talked to the therapist, I swear I'm looking at Happy like, ugh. I really don't want to see Happy. I'm like, when she speaks, I'm like, now why are you talking? Why are you here? Like, she really pisses me off. Yeah, she's my least favorite. She really is. So of course, Happy came with Hanani, Shalom, Mabel. I think Hanani is Mabel. And also came with Katlego, her personal assistant. I don't know why she came with Katlego, but she came with Katlego. Of course, Miss Manchi came with Palesa. I don't know where her nanny is, so she usually comes with Palesa, her cousin sister, stroke nanny. So Katlego, Palesa, Auntie Shalom. Auntie Shalom, I think, is Nunurai's nanny, and Auntie Mabel. They're all sitting together, and then Happy, Miss Manchi, and Nunurai were in the kitchen, and they were cooking some jollof rice. I'm gonna agree with Kat, because when they're sitting, Katlego was like, why am I here with the aunties? Like, this is not my vibe. Katlego wants to talk about makeup, things like those, but this is not. Auntie Shalom and Auntie Mabel are not people who you talk to about makeup. Styling. So I think Katlego should have been with the other ladies, with Akina Nunurai and Miss Manchi and Happy. I think that's where Katlego fits. Anyway, they were talking about how they went to the spa, Palesa and Nani Manchi, Mrs. Mop's nanny. They talked about that. They talked about how Mrs. Mom's house is so huge. Katlego was like, I really thought it was a hotel. I'm pretty sure Katlego would want to be Mrs. Mom's makeup artist or something, or stylist or something. I'm pretty sure. They talked about that. It got to a point like, I think Katlego was super hungry. He started it. She started eating the baby's food. And the baby is Miss Manchi's baby, I think Noah. So I was like, why are you eating Miss Manchi's baby's food? Like, that was really odd, Katlego. This other side, Nunurai was like, listen, I got a bone to pick with you, Happy. I don't like when I asked about Omule calling me a fan. You were like, when did this happen? And you were one of the people who were calling me your fans. And Happy was like, there were so many shots that day, I seriously cannot remember. Granted, Happy, you were drunk, you can't remember. But right now you're sober. And this woman, Nunurai, is telling you, I didn't like it. When you called me your fan, I didn't like it when Umule did it, and I didn't like it when you did it. As a friend, you could have just said, I'm so sorry if I say that. I don't remember, but I'm sorry I say that. But Happy can't do that. But she's the first one to ask for someone to apologize to her. She's the first person. You see how she told Ratile, you should just apologize. Stop explaining yourself, just apologize. You could have just apologized to Nunurai. The main things you say that night that you can't remember, apparently. You could have. Nunurai says that Happy does owe her an apology, but she knows she's not going to get it. They talk about Nunurai being a little bit judgmental when it came to this man that Happy wants to marry. Nunurai said, that's not where I was coming from. I'm just coming from a place of concern. And as a friend, I would think you'd want me to say it. Happy said that she's not a child. We should just let her be. If it ends in tears, we will comfort her. If it ends in tears, I will also be here to say, see, we told you. We told you. So I'm not going to be shocked if it ends there, to be honest. I'm not going to be shocked. They didn't even wait for the jollof to finish. Like, even Ray was like, I cooked so much food for you guys. You just can't wait just a few minutes. Or then just wait, and then we pack it, and then you can live with it. Because you have, so I'm thinking, Katleko, Palesa, and Auntie Mabel, they didn't eat. The whole time they were there, they didn't eat. So people are hungry, and they didn't. So the kids ate, of course, but the grown-ups didn't eat. And since Miss Manchi and Happy were in a hurry, saying, we still have to go, time, you just couldn't wait, and you could, okay, for the at least packed food. Because Nunre was just like, we're only the three of us, we really can't finish all this food. But yeah, that's what happened with that scene. The next scene, we're at Happy's house. Happy's calling her fiance. So she's calling her to tell her what people are saying. People are concerned about this relationship. People don't trust him. Like, her girlfriends don't trust him. They think he's a scammer and all these things. Happy started talking about that he has really paid the price, because a few years ago, when Titi was born, she filed a case against him, and he had to leave the country. And before leaving the country, apparently he was attacked, stabbed, and all these things. Happy is like, I even saw the scar the day I was in Nigeria. This man is like, you're my woman, I love you. You know I'm rich, I have money. I think he said that like twice. I'm rich, I have my own money. Happy said this is the father of her first child, and will be the father of her last child. I don't even know what to say when it comes to Happy. Let her be. Let her be with her man. Let her be with her kids. We saw a preview of next episode. They're going to talk about the late husband. Happy just loves a man around her. Whether the man is a scammer, whether the man is a cheat, when the man is a liar. So even if she knows anything about this current man, she will not tell us, and she'll accept it. She will accept it fully. Even her confidently saying, if it ends in 2 years, that's someone who already knows something. This man said that he will bring back the joy and happiness in her life. I promise you the moon and the stars. I saw Happy act like a 20-year-old. Happy act like she's 20 or 21. This is my first love. This is the father of my first child. Come on, Happy. You're like 40. I'm guessing, right? Oh, I hated the orange wig that she was wearing in her confession. I was like, Happy, come on now. You got a black card. You can't buy an expensive wig. The next thing was Miss Manchi's photo shoot for her shapewear. She had invited Nunurai and there were 2 other ladies. I'm not gonna lie, I love the photo shoot. I love the color of the shapewear. I love that it was all sizes. Like there's Nunurai, the perfect body, and then there's Miss Manchi. She's a bit she's a bitch. She's a bit bigger, but she's very curvy. And then there were 2 other ladies, so I did love the photo shoot. And after the photo shoot, they went and sat down. So Nunurai and Miss Manchi, and they were talking. And then she was like, "Oh, I want to gift you a book, my husband's book. He has a book called Make Money While You Sleep." I feel like I've heard that before. I don't know if it's his book or something, but I think I've heard it before. So like the phrase, the saying, yes, make money while you sleep. Like, but I'm talking about the book, but I've never read it. I'm not a bookworm. I do not like books to read books at all. And then they started talking about when Nunurai asked who is it dedicated to, and then Miss Manchi was like, me. And then there was no dedication page, and Miss Manchi, this was really funny, and I loved seeing something real from Miss Manchi. She's like, we didn't speak to each other for a week in the house because there was no dedication page for me. That was really funny when Miss Manchi said that. They talked about Her Majesty's book. They want to read her book. Nunurai said she's 1 chapter in. Nunurai said Happy's mother moved to a place called Alex, and Happy had to stay with different men to survive. So Happy did have a rough upbringing. We clearly can see that, and I guess that's why even now I think men are her solace. I don't know why, but I also feel like as a mom, and you have girls, make sure your girls don't go through that. But anyway, I'm not a therapist. I am just saying. So Happy has had a rough life, and that's why Kidogo, just a small thing inside me is always like, Happy has had it rough. I can't be so harsh. But every time I hear Titi talking, I'm looking at Happy like, my God, you are not a good mom. That's just how I feel about it. What else did they talk about? I think that was it. Yeah, basically that was the books, and that's it. Miss Manchi did tell Nunurai, you followed my husband first, so you should have known about the book. Nunurai was like, it's Instagram, it's not that deep. Your husband has 2 million followers. You expect them to be men? It was cute. I love Nunurai. I'm not gonna lie, I love Nunurai. She'll probably end up being my favorite. Yep, she probably will. But that was that scene. The last scene, Miss Manchi and Ratile meet up. So Miss Manchi did not like that last week. Ratile kind of brought up the Kefi Boo, that friend, in front of Nunurai, and they started beefing in front of Nunurai. She didn't like that. She says like, this is how I do things. I call you, we have a one-on-one, I tell you my problem, and you listen. And she just started going off. You remember when Mrs. Bob said you're a chihuahua? She went off. She called Ratile a snake. This whole time, Ratile is just sitting and staring at her and not saying a damn thing. Oh, when you were crying in front of me and Mrs. Mobs, and I was there to hold your hand. I was like, we didn't see this, so this happened without the cameras, and we didn't get to see this, because she was saying that she was crying about something, and she was the one who was encouraging Miss Manchi was encouraging Ratile. And then you asking about my friendships. I already told you that nothing is going on there. Why can't you just let it go? You're a snake, you're very rude. Like, she really insulted Ratile. Now I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna get into Ratile also. Ratile, someone can just sit down and insult you, and you're just like, okay, and he's like, okay. Because after all that, Ratile was like, this doesn't go well with my brand. In her confessionals, I don't fight. And then when she finally got a chance to speak, she just started crying and saying, I don't want to fight. And she's holding Miss Manchi's hand. This woman just called you a snake. This woman just said the most vile things to you. And you are crying and holding her hand. I need Ratile, the way she's tough in her confessionals, I need to see her when she's arguing with people. Because I don't see it. I really do not see it. Even with last week with Happy, you could have just told Happy, that's how I felt about saying you're a cloud chaser, because you really did have valid points. So even with this woman, she always, with Miss Manchi, I'm talking with Miss Manchi, she always talks about your friendship. She always has something to say about your situation. You could have just told her, I don't like it when you open your mouth and you retell a story the wrong way. But instead you cried and then you're like, I don't want to fight. It doesn't go with my brand. Like being Miss SA and whatnot. Then don't be on the show. If you're not going to be a bit dirty or a bit, because you're shady in your confessionals, which I love, I need you to have the same energy when someone is calling you a snake. I would have left. If it doesn't go with your brand to argue with someone, I would have stood up and left. I would have told you, you're not going to call me a snake. I will stand up and leave. Because you have two options. You either go mouth to mouth, like read each other. She call you a snake, call her something else. Pig, whatever. Something. But you just don't shut up and let someone insult you. That's what I thought about that whole thing. Ratile, to me, I need you, the energy in your confessionals, I need you to give the same energy when you're having a one-on-one with somebody. Really, this review wasn't going to be long because, like I said, the episode was really slow. Let me just say slow. It was really slow. That's my recap for this week. I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.